Spitcast.
The future of collaborative video production.
Spitcast.
News, information, conversation, collaboration.
Spitcast.
Hi, I'm Michael London, and welcome to Spidcast, the future of collaborative video production, brought to you by spidvid.com. On this episode, we're visiting with Gavin Leighton and Mike Lawson, both actors living in Los Angeles, and both now blazing that trail to non-traditional video production and delivery and worldwide collaboration as well. They have, in fact, worked together, but also separately, both with great success. I'm certain you'll enjoy their similar but quite unique stories as well.
Spitcast.
First up is Gavin Leighton. Gavin, welcome to Spidcast.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to get to speak with others that are like-minded, want to do what I want to do.
Gavin, tell us a little bit about your story.
I live in Los Angeles. I moved to Los Angeles about 7.5 years ago. I moved out here specifically for acting and music and writing. And during that time, I've worked some as an actor and booked things which have been exciting, but I've also most excitingly, been able to work on projects where I helped to create, or I was just a part of the process with a group of friends, and getting to wear lots of little hats on various projects over the course of time that I've been out here, which for me has been really fulfilling. It's a different experience than just booking something and moving on. You actually create something, which is pretty exciting.
Well, that sounds great. Now, tell us a little bit about how you broke into the business.
I've had the honor and the good fortune to work with some really great people out here in Los Angeles. I'll name a few kind of as I go along, but just to name some, I've had the good fortune of working with Peter Atencio, working with Jen Fee, and Alicia Skye. And these are all people that have made some really incredible video content and have gotten some attention with their work for numerous reasons, especially with the quality of their work. One of the things kind of most notably for me was I produced something called Baracula, the musical. We did this several years ago, a long time ago, towards the end of '07, long before it was cool to jump on the Barack Obama bandwagon and making videos about him. We created this 12 minutes, I call it a short political horror rock musical. And basically Barack Obama fighting vampires at Harvard Law School. And it's 12 songs, got 2 musical numbers and dancing, which I composed for, I helped produce, I also starred in. So that was kind of my first experience with collaborating with others and creating video content, and it got a lot of attention. We were featured on CNN, Fox, MSNBC. We were discussed with VH1 and MTV. We were in newspapers. It was really cool. We got a lot of great publicity, and it was all kind of unintentional. We were not aiming to get that kind of publicity. It just kind of fell into our laps because we released it at the beginning of February of 2008, like around Super Tuesday, just for fun, and it just kind of took off from there for a while. It was cool.
Now, I'm going to guess on that production that you took advantage of collaboration.
Absolutely. So what had happened was some friends of mine, Mike Lawson, who I work with quite a bit, Brooke Shirey, Justin Sherman, they were just making a short film, and they wanted to know if I wanted to produce it along with them. It was just really a story about Barack Obama being at Harvard, and that's all it kind of was. And I liked the idea of collaborating because you get to spend time with friends in a really special way, in a way that you get to do something that you love to do, you get to create something, but then somebody came up with the idea of making it a musical, and once that really got my attention, and I was really on board from that point on, and then they decided to make it a vampire musical, and we just had a great time. It was the 4 of us working very closely together, and we created a great script, and we made some really great music, and it was actually the script and the music and the idea that inspired and enrolled others to kind of be a part of the project. We, kind of enlisted a guy named Mark Manschreck, who had a red camera, and it was the first time that any of us got to use or even see a red camera. It was at the beginning of '08 when it was really just kind of coming out, and this guy Mark allowed us to just use his camera. He was just being a part of it just because he enjoyed the idea of it, and so just kind of felt inspired to be a part of it. And so that's kind of how it happened. Then we got through, and something very, very small, an idea that we had that we didn't have these big high hopes for. It was just something we just wanted to do for fun. It turned out to be something much bigger than any of us had expected. And so that, I think that kind of, that got me really into the idea of collaborating with others.
Well, you've certainly whetted my appetite. Where can we see that?
Thank you. It's Baracula.com. People tend to misspell it, but it's just like the president's last name. It's Barackula. So like Dracula, but Baracula. So just Baracula.com, and you'll be able to see kind of the press and all that. But you can also watch the full 12-minute video in HD on there. And again, everything there. Just so their listeners can know, it looks really good. But we shot it, I'd say, for about 2,000 or less, and a lot of it was just from favors that we got from friends. We got food donated to us. It was really just one of those things where we know the right people. We're in that community of making video content. And by knowing others and by being a part of that group, they come in and they help you with the thinking that, at some point you'll return the favor. And it's kind of like a family that produces these projects. And we have. So Baracula.com. I hope people go check it out.
I'm sure they will, as will I. Now, you mentioned limited budgets. Tell us how to get the most from a limited or even sometimes a no-budget production.
Sure. I'll speak with some experience. Most recently, we've produced a new comedy series called Hitting the Fan, and it's had a very, very small budget. So the first place to start when you want to create something like a web series or just a show or just a single thing, the first place to go is having a clear idea of what you want. Before you start calling friends over, before you maybe even start writing, you really want to think, what is it that I want to create? How can I do this cheaply? Who do I know that can help me on this? People sometimes think that when you hear the word resources, you think in financial terms. But in this kind of world, in this kind of arena with making video content, it actually, your resources are the people around you. If you associate with people that make video content at least, or people that do, they have a great wealth of resources for you that you may not even be able to imagine. So at least start sending out emails or making phone calls and starting from there, see what people can do. We had asked a friend of ours that does sound, our friend Josh Bissett. He joined us on Hitting the Fan, and he was almost a favor to us. We didn't pay him very much at all. He should have been paid more, but he did it simply because he's a part of that group, and at some point I assume that we'll help him with something as well. So that's one way to begin. Okay,
so you've got the project done, and now you've posted it. How do you get people to find it?
Okay, so once you're past the production aspect, and you're now in post-production, maybe editing, or even past that, what do you do now? Once again, I would say look around at the world around you. Look at follow the right people on things like Twitter. That's a really amazing resource, because if you follow the right people on Twitter, you can learn information that you really wouldn't get unless you spend hours digging up online. These people are doing it for you already, and you can do it in kind of live streaming action. Another way is to figure out, how do you benefit others? Where does your content belong? Did you, for instance, if you made a series, would a company like Netflix or Xbox, would they have any interest in having some original content? Is the quality, is the audio and the video quality up to par with what they want? If you've done some good planning on your end in pre-production and production, maybe you have some really phenomenal quality of writing, of performances, video, audio. If you have all the four magic things all placed together, there's a lot of places where you can go. If you've only, right now what we're doing is we've shot 2 episodes of our show, and we're kind of in that same place. We're reaching out to places where it might belong. So maybe also maybe another example, maybe check in with like a website like, a product or something. I'm just going to Target. I don't know, for some reason comes to me. So you contact Target, and maybe for some reason they want their own show on their website. Who knows the reason why, but they just might. Maybe your show has that original content that they're looking for, which they can also advertise on as well. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you have some great financing that you never would have expected. It's simply, once again, a matter of collaboration, but this time with a company.
Well, you've given us some wonderful insights into the whole process from idea to completion. What do you foresee now in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
For anyone that has had a hand in making video content now, people know that it's an exciting time to be doing this, because look at where things were 5 years ago. You never would have imagined the kind of advances that we see with video equipment and audio equipment that we have access to now. Not only do we have access to, but also really cheaply. There was never anything like HD cameras would have cost a fortune 5 years ago. But right now, there's no excuse for anybody to not be able to make something that is worthy for a big screen with lots of people watching it, or worthy of having 10, 20,000, 30,000 people following it. It's just a really phenomenal, exciting time to be doing this, because cameras are going to be getting better, sound equipment's going to be getting better. They're also going to get more affordable. Even this month, I think Final Cut X with Apple, that software is coming out, I believe, this month, if I got that right. Even advances in just software can really take people's production to a new level that they would not have imagined 5 years ago. And the exciting thing is, in 5 years from now, it's just going to be the same thing, but it's going to be exponential. I see in 5 years from now everyone having access to cameras like the Red camera or better, and being able to make something that looks beautiful for under $1,000 or whatever it may be. So again, once you have these resources available to you, the first place to begin is a good, proper planning. What do you want to write? What kind of script do you want? And while I have this opportunity to speak, I suggest people to give their scripts to others and let them do it. Do a table read, because, technology can get better, and you can have access to really phenomenal equipment that will make you look good, but you want to make sure that the content is good too. So it's all equally important.
Well, there you make an excellent point. The accessibility, the ease of use, the quality of the equipment, but it still comes down to the writing.
Oh, absolutely. Every single time. Again, another example with our show right now, Hitting the Fan, we did a table read with a group of friends that we were not asking to help us. We just wanted to hear how it sounded out loud. It was me and Mike Lawson and Ron Falica. It's kind of a production team I have out here, and we liked having this table read. But once people read the script, there were actors with great credits, people with great talent, people that their time is valuable. They said to us, how do we be a part of this? We just want to be a part of it. We'll help any way that we can. This is a great script. It's very funny. So it starts with that. And from that point forward, because we had a good product before the camera was turned on, more resources became available to us. And also for free. We got free locations and things like that nature.
Gavin, tell us a bit about how SpidVid has impacted collaboration and production for you.
Absolutely. When I first learned about SpidVid not too long ago, I was impressed with the idea. It's essentially just a place where people like myself and others, that I assume will be listening to this, can really connect with others, and it's another great resource out there. That's what it's all about. And you go online and you put out a video idea, and before you know it, the world brings you something that you would not have expected, yesterday. And now all of a sudden your project is jumping to new great heights, and which builds the excitement and builds I think the production value as well. I think it's a great forum for people to connect and learn things about themselves as video creators, and also learn things about others, and to produce even better content in the future. And Jeremy's also just a pretty nice guy.
He is that indeed. So if you could just wrap this up with a few easily digestible nuggets, what would they be?
The four things that I think that are most valuable, that they're your four pillars for a great project, and that is great writing, great performances, great video, and great audio. If one of those pillars is missing, I feel like the foundation of what you're trying to accomplish will fall apart. If you're trying to go for something grand, if you're just wanting to make something just to make it and show friends on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, then you have a lot more freedom. But if you're trying to take it to a next level, where you're getting financing or want it placed on a network, or you want a large film, you really need to take into consideration, I think, these four very essential aspects to video creating.
Excellent. Now, Gavin, one more time, where do we see your stuff?
You can see my new show, Hit It, which I'm the star of, and I writer and composer of as well at hittingthefanshow.com. And you can watch Baracula at baracula.com. And I can be emailed from any of these sites as well. I guess you can, best one now is Gavin at hittingthefanshow.com.
Thank you so much, Gavin Leighton, for joining us today.
Michael, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Spitcast.
Next up is an actor, writer, and editor of Idiotscreen.com. He's Mike Lawson. So tell us a bit about yourself. What's your story?
Well, I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, in a small town right outside of Dayton. And, I always knew that I wanted to be a part of film since I was 4. I started making films when I was around 4 or 5. I had my parents play different roles, and I would direct them and write them and make remakes of movies that I already liked, like Red Dawn and a movie called Daryl, which is a TV movie about a boy robot. And I would, write, and I just continued to do that through my childhood. And I moved out to L.A. like so many other people, and to, primarily to be an actor and a writer. I really focused on writing first, and acting first. And I started working at casting offices just to intern and learn the other side, and worked in script development at a couple production companies also to learn that side. And slowly would book like kind of bit parts on TV shows, and then the parts started to get a little bit bigger, and do some independent films, and started to write more. And I started to produce my own stuff because, I got tired of waiting around like so many people do. And I, produced a couple of short films and web series. And then I, thought of the idea to kind of create my own site, like a blog featuring interviews and panel discussions and our own content that my friends and I would do and have a hub for it. So I created Idiotscreen.com. And now it brings me to right about now. That's basically my story in a nutshell there.
So now take us through the process from your idea to script to the finished product.
Well, my friends and I, we thought of an idea originally for like a half-hour comedy show, and we wrote a pilot, and we were like, okay, where do we take this? And we didn't have many connections with the inside the big network studio system. So we said, let's do this on our own. And at the time, other people were, of course, creating their own content for the web. And we thought, well, we can do this. So we had the script, and then we had to add the outline for the rest of the series. The show is called, Hitting the Fan. And we basically kind of pulled our friends together. We had a sound guy friend of ours that we said, can you work super cheap? We started creating the website, just this WordPress site, found a WordPress theme and, started learning that and figuring out the color scheme. And then we, just had, called all of our friends and, Facebooked them. And between the three of us, my friends, Gavin and Ron, and we basically put what money we had into it, which is very little, and we created a test pilot shot on the HV20 camera, this little mini DV camera. We used China lanterns because they were super cheap. We used other kind of light fixtures from Home Depot, and when the boom, when our sound guy couldn't be there, we had the other actors kind of boom that first episode, and we shot it, and then it took several months to edit it. We had a guy editing it, a friend of ours in New York. We were editing out here between our computers. Had a lot of bad luck as far as like computers crashing. There's probably like 5 different computers that it was on, and then we had a friend do the sound mix. We all we created it. We had a screening, and then we decided let's do a second episode before we air anything. So we went out and we put a little bit more money, but not much. But we had learned a lot from that first one. We shot on the T2i Rebel and the Canon 7D DSLR HD cameras, and we got our other friends involved, and we used, again, mostly China lanterns, not really any traditional film lights, but we went out, we shot it, and same thing. It was a lot quicker because we didn't shoot as much footage. We improv'd a lot more in that first one. We were a lot more efficient with our time and our schedule in the second episode, and we kind of put it out there, and that's kind of how that happened for that show, Hitting the Fan. And then another series that I did was a lot different. That panel show for Idiotscreen, basically, I, just contacted, various people that, I'd want to interview and scheduled a day, at a friend's house and, had, basic kind of China lanterns and borrowed a couple of lights from friends and set up 3 cameras, two T2i Rebels and a 170. Had some friends come. We just, shot interviews all day and then had another friend edit it and, put it out on the web and tried to send it out to the influencers out there, the people that, whose opinions seem to matter, which I believe is everyone. But so we sent it out to everyone and also those that, of course, who have even more influence, as far as, views on their site or whatever.
Now, through what you just said, there was a continuing thread, friends, friends, friends. Tell us about how Friends and Spidcast and others have helped you.
Well, SpidVed and another, like Facebook and them together, are basically, for us, I speak at least how we do it and what I've seen other friends do. They, a resource to find talent because, like a lot of the people that I work with, I come mostly again from the acting background. And at the time, I didn't have a lot of friends that were, I had one sound guy friend, which was a blessing, but the other people I didn't really have many DP friends or editor friends or grips or, I don't know, or, and even in certain cases for acting sake, a lot of my friends are kind of playing a similar age to me, kind of mid-late 20s, but there's not always, maybe like someone in their 40s or, a teenager or, to find, it was very helpful to find people who I didn't have in my inner circle and who were wanting to do the same thing. And of course, by them helping us out, in turn, we, owe them, our help on their passion projects. And, it's just a way to find people because, very often, at least in our case, we didn't have the funds. And even so, even if we did, we would still we would want to have a place to find them that, that we could trust, and we would have obviously if we have people who vouch for other people, in person and online, we can trust them more than if, we just got a resume through Craigslist, Seeing like someone's profile page and their example work all in one page, I think, is very helpful. And, on SpidVid and Facebook and, Twitter in a completely different way, but, for as far as connecting, I think Facebook, SpidVid, and, some of the other places out there are a huge resource to filmmakers, and they definitely were for us.
Well, you and your collaborators have certainly helped to bring the future to reality. What do you now see in the near and distant future? Well,
I see it going more in the direction that it is. It's, becoming, of course, more digital and the gatekeepers, once were, at these networks and studios, they're, of course, going to fight on to keep their place, but, they're slowly slipping away. I do think that when it comes to collaboration, it's going to become more involved as far as there's going to be more and more content and more avenues to watch it, and it's already happening where we're watching on different devices, mobile and of course on television, internet on television, vice versa. But we're just going to see more of that. Where I don't think that it's going to change too much is in just where I hope not is the medium itself. I think that I'm a huge fan of collaboration. I think that that's the incredibly important thing. But I also think that having a specific vision, be it with the one creator or a couple of creators, and of course listening to input is very important. But what I hope that it doesn't change is that I'm not personally I'm not a big fan of interactive of content. When I'm watching a story or reading a book, I want the writer, the director to take me in a certain place. So I don't think that's going to change, except for a couple of gimmicks here and there. But where it will change and get better, I think, is just there's going to, as more and more sites keep growing, or we can find more people, and we can monetize the content online. And I know Joseph Gordon-Levitt has that Hit Record site, which I believe just sold a first book from someone coming up with an idea on his site, and they have a book deal. I believe I just saw. I could be wrong. So we'll see more and more of that, where these gatekeepers are going away, and the gatekeepers are just you and me and everyone else who are have an internet account, and that's just I think just going to continue to grow and get better. Where unlike where the actual storytelling itself, despite a couple of gimmicks and niches here and there, I hope that doesn't change too much, because I think there's something to be said for classic storytelling, and pushing boundaries is one thing, but yeah, that's basically kind of what I feel about it.
Now, Mike, you've mentioned the phrase gatekeeper several times, and isn't it a wonderful thing that the process of those gatekeepers and their influence has changed?
Oh yeah, no, it is. It's a great thing, and it's because it's, and also it doesn't cost as much to create something now as it used to. So not only do the gatekeepers not as important as they once were, we now have the ability to go out there and create what we want to create at a cheaper rate, and that's inspiring. I mean, on the flip side, you could argue that with the cost going down and more content out there, it's harder to monetize, but I believe that the ones that really stand out, the films, the short films, the web series, whatever it may be, the ones that are truly great will find a home and will make their money, or they'll make their money on their next one. And I think that's the good ones will eventually be found.
Now that we've had a chance to visit with you, Mike, and folks have gotten to know you, I'm sure they're going to want to see your stuff. Where do we go find some of your work?
Well, you could go to idiotscreen.com or hittingthefanshow.com, and you can watch the panel shows and interviews that we've done, and also the original series, Hitting the Fan. And then we've got a feature film called The Deadbeat that we'll be shooting, later this fall, and there'll be more information about that as well. So idiotscreen.com and hittingthefanshow.com as well.
Excellent. And do you have a parting shot for our listeners?
No, I mean, other than, I guess, the typical, just set a due date and go out and do something, I think I find to be the best thing. And and if it, like Seth Godin says, ship it, just go out there and ship something out into the world, and then go out and ship something else, and constantly will get better each time. But the important thing is to ship it.
Mike Lawson, thank you so much for taking the time to visit today.
Hey, thank you, Michael. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to our Spidcast show. We appreciate your time and attention. You can now join the conversation at spidcast.com or on our SpidVid blog. And you can join our collaborative filmmaking community at spidvid.com. Tune in next month for another entertaining and informative episode of Spidcast.